So this lesson will go through some billing tips using Oscar EMR. First, let's go into the encounter. As you can see here, we've got your note. Let's assume you're writing the note. The easiest way to get to the billing screen is to click the $sign which says Sign, Save, and Bill. Once you click that, assuming you finish your note, done a SOAP note, click Sign, Save, and Bill, and you get to the billing screen. I'll just increase it a little bit so we can see it better. Please have a look at every single billing code. These are the most commonly used billing codes. For example, as a walk-in, you can use 14066. You'd have to be responsible for that patient for that year, or the most responsible physician. Same thing for 14043. I would ask you to look at the actual billing codes in MSP and read for yourself what the description of these codes are. But if a patient doesn't have a family doctor and you are working regularly in a walk-in and allow the patient to follow up with you, then it is reasonable, perhaps, to bill these codes. Other thing would be the tray service for WCB. So if you're doing a surgery on a patient who is under WCB, you can use this tray code as opposed to the regular tray codes, which are paying less. As you can see, these are the two regular tray service. They're just a little bit higher here, and their amounts are lower. Also have a look at anticoagulation therapy. So anytime you do an INR bill, go ahead and bill that. And the rest, for example, crisis intervention would be if you have to take an inordinate amount of time with a patient. For example, somebody who's acutely psychotic and you have to spend time with the patient, you might be able to bill the crisis intervention. Make sure you bill your pregnancy test, urine test, sugar test. If you do a glucometer test, also there is also the peak flow that you can bill. And remember that a PAP is also billable along with a visit. Two other things to keep in mind is 13070, 13075. If you bill a WorkSafe visit, you can bill an MSP visit. Remember that the WorkSafe has to be billed under WCB. Just go up here a little bit just to underline this point. So WCB would be WorkSafe, and then under MSP you would bill the 13070. Also, you would bill a visit with ICBC, and then you'd bill the MSP visit along with the ICBC visit. So I'll just going on to that. Let's see how, assuming that this was an ICBC visit, how would I bill it? One thing to keep in mind is if it's the initial visit for ICBC, it's very reasonable to do a full physical. What I do is I bill a 101. V714 is the code that I use. It's, as you will see what the code means. And so you make sure to bill under ICBC, you do the code V714. You don't need to add anything in there. Just do continue. And it's observation following other accident. And then when you're going to bill the other bill, make sure that you click another bill, which takes you back to the screen. You bill 13075. Let's say patient comes in for a cold. Then you bill under MSP, and then you continue and you do save bill. So one was under ICBC, the next one, this one, is under MSP. So this is how you bill. So this patient has been billed. Let's assume that the patient comes back again And now that they come for an allergy injection, just want to show that an allergy injection would be billed like this. Let's say you do 2 injections, then you would do sign, save, and bill, and you would click subcutaneous injection 0034, and you would put 2 into the unit. Make sure that you're the billing physician, and this is the important 2 or 3. Let's say if there's 3 shots, but let's assume there's only 2. You cannot bill a 100 and an allergy shot at the same time. If there's only 1, you can leave it empty, and this will then bill, and you see there's 2 units, so it pays you $20 or so, and then you just save the bill. Let's say the patient comes for a laceration, and this is just an MSB visit, and also they want a refill of a hypertension medication. How do you bill that? Well, you click sign, save, and bill. You would choose, there's 2 options. There's minor laceration, no anesthesia. Assuming you did stitches, you just click 13611. Make sure you have the right date. And then you also want to bill for the hypertension. However, Oscar and Teleplan only look at this first box. They don't look at the second one. So never put anything in here or here. And do continue. And then do another bill. And then what you do is you do a office visit. Let's say for hypertension, 401. Just increase the screen here just so we can see better. Still billed under me. The date is correct. And then you would half it. You could click the 0.5 here, and then you half the lower amount, which is in this case a visit. A visit pays $30 or so. The laceration pays 63, so the visit will be halved. Different diagnostic code must be there, otherwise you can't bill a visit. Like I couldn't bill the same code for the laceration and the visit, so I do continue, and then I get that extra bill. But again, remember to use another bill. For private billings, there's nothing that needs to be done. However, remember to provide the sick note, for example, to the front desk. Do not give it to the patient, otherwise they might go home without paying. Private visits are paid by the patient prior to the visit, and so those should be billed beforehand. And should you be filling out a form or doing a driver's physical, please ensure that the patient pays before filling out the form to ensure that there's no misunderstanding about the price. Prices of or private bills are posted in every exam room. WorkSafe billing was reviewed in another video. Let's say at the end of the day you want to look at your billing total. You would click on Admin. Then you would go to Report by Template. And then you would have these 2 options, Billing Sum and Billing List. Clicking Billing Sum would generate this report by template. You can choose the date and you can run the query. Clicking the billing list would give you the whole list of billings, and this is how you can keep track to make sure that you billed everything. So this concludes this billing lesson. Thank you very much.